What is up? We are live reality after show reviewing RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Season 10, episode number 2, entitled Murder on the Dance Floor. I am Phillip. You might know me from NBC's Deal or No Deal Season 2. And my buddy Jeff Marx is here as well. How are you today, Jeff?
What's up? I'm good, thanks.
All right, so we are going to be bringing you just kind of an overall analysis, breakdown, whatever else that you're not going to get from anyone else. A former reality show contestant and big fan of the show in myself. And Jeff, you tell us a little bit about kind of your view and what you bring to this amazing review.
Sure, yes. Thanks for joining us here on the second episode. So I come from a long line of reality TV. I started watching it when MTV started The Real World at age 15, and I grew up with it in the 90s, so I'm kind of like an encyclopedia. I won an Emmy for Love on the Spectrum in 2022, and I worked on HBO's We're Here for a couple seasons, a lot of stuff. So I have both a on-camera experience in Glass House, which was a show for ABC, a one-off show, and then from behind the scenes I've been working on for several years until the TV industry has burned in flames, and now I'm here on podcast offering my wealth of knowledge. So that's a little bit about me. Thanks for having me.
All right, we love to see it. So we already reviewed episode 1, Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. We are coming right out of that in knowing that Aja is ahead currently, which I was half expecting, but also like half not. So like we love that energy. Currently, we are finally getting back to the workroom where we have all of our girls that were in our bottom 4 of our first bracket finally get to give out points to one another who their MVQ is, most valuable queen. So if it were you, Jeff, and you were on the show, would you give your point to the queen that you're closest with, or the queen that was most valuable to you that week, or the girl that you thought really brought the best to that week?
I mean, I feel like the shady part of me would give my point to like Phoenix every time. I know she's not going to win in the end. I know she can come stand with me in the final 2 if it got to that point. And here are all my tokens or points or whatever to my sister girl. Phoenix, book me when I'm in Atlanta. That would be how I would maybe play. But it is a currency though, right? So like you can shift and change your reason every time, depending on who's in those top spots that don't need the points. Like you can wheel and deal in any different direction. So it might change from episode to episode.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. The idea that I want to give my point to a queen that I love and a queen that I support, but also if that queen is going to get ahead of me, then we're going to have to reevaluate where my point goes on that week specifically.
Yeah, so you're not getting my point.
Right? Yeah, absolutely not. But I think in knowing that we only have 3 episodes, and this is already not, episode number 2 of 3 with this group of 6, I think that the points mean more than ever. We cannot play a long game, a timid game, some kind of held back at all. I think we need to go balls to the wall immediately. So we jump right in there after the girl. Okay. Hot take. The girls are just giving out points to one another. I give you a hug, you give me a hug, and everybody's happy. Is this necessarily how you thought it would go for episode number 2?
I think it's exactly how I thought it would go for the first time using the points. Yes. I think they all recognize that there is an air of shady possibilities, but I think that the trade-offs made sense for this time. Deja Skye gave it to Olivia, and Olivia gave it to Deja Skye, and Bosco gave it to Phoenix, and Phoenix in turn gave it to Bosco because they're becoming sisters, so like that makes sense. But they all know that it can change on a dime, and I absolutely think it will moving forward.
Okay, so I need you to put on your producer hat for a minute. Mm-hmm. Do you think, Jeff Marx, that it makes better TV that they have to give the point to the person face to face, or would you rather see it done anonymously? I think that it like, what do you think is going to create a better television experience?
A better television experience is face to face, and as someone who, truth is the cornerstone of my being. It always has been. It physically makes me feel ill to lie. I can't lie for very long until I crack. But I do think doing it to the face on camera is has the potential to be brutal and all for our entertainment, right? It all works out good for us. So I think a secret vote, you can always find out about it. People, I mean, there's only so many queens that I feel like just mathematically you'd be able to figure it out. You might as well just remove that element and go full guns a-blazing.
Sweet. I will respectfully say that for this group, have to disagree with you only because I think a lot of them played nice because they saw what was happening in the room. And I don't think if they were able to see what was happening in the room that the points would have ended up where they did, but we shall see. We jump into our mini challenge. Let's just go through the numbers real quick because I'm a numbers guy. Currently going into our mini challenge, Aja has 3 points. Bosco has 1, Deja Sky has 1, Irene has 2, Olivia has 1, and Phoenix has 1. So it is still any queen's game. Speaking of the game, the mini challenge of moving a softball up and down the pit crew's body without their hands. What are your views on this, Jeff?
You know what? Any time that the pit crew is given consent to use their bodies on television in whatever way, I am all for it. They also had a new pit crew guy was in there. I haven't seen that guy before. The guy in the middle. We know the other 2 guys. I forget their names, but we know them, right? They're on all the time.
Yes.
But the third guy was new, so I liked that they had a new pit guy in there. That was great.
There are articles in Out Magazine. He's all over the internet right now. Who's the new guy on pit crew? So trust me, as a country, as a contemporary American society, we notice. All right.
Absolutely.
So our mini challenge winner, Irene the Alien, we are now going into our Maxi challenge, Murder on the Dance Floor. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So first of all, love the title. Murder on the Dance Floor had a huge comeback last year with Saltburn, right? A nice 20-year-old dance track from the early 2000s. So I'm obsessed with that song now and forever. But Murder on the Dance Floor, I love an acting challenge. So this is kind of like a murder mystery. Get all the girls in a room. Someone died. Figure it out. Who done it, right? RuPaul is in here acting up a storm. We love when RuPaul gets an opportunity to be a true actress, with Carson and Michelle thrown in there too. So that's always a good time. And I did like the theming of this. I liked all the characters that were given. I also love that no one fought over any characters. That rarely happens anymore. They all got the characters they wanted. So that's kind of fun. And I do think that comes with a little bit of experience of having been on the show before and just knowing when to choose and pick your battles. And if something feels right for you, just grab it in the moment. And I think it all worked out. I must say, these challenges are getting a little long in the tooth, though. They're getting a little... I mean, I did not go to like my local movie theater to watch an actual movie film. All right. Like I don't need... I get it. We're doing extended episodes, more time, more airspace, more advertisement. It makes everyone more money. I get it. Yay us. But like these challenges can be edited a little bit, in my opinion. It was a lot. I snoozed a little bit and I watched it first thing this morning. So I wasn't even tired. And I was like, I get it. I get it. What's next?
So as an actor, I think that this challenge gave me exactly what I wanted as far as improv is concerned. And to the average viewer, just in case you were wondering kind of like what they got versus what they had to bring, they were told what who their character was and whether they committed the murder or not. Everything else you saw had to be improv. So what was amazing about that is that it really allowed every queen to kind of flesh out the rest. They got kind of their name, their role in all of it, but like the one-liners, the jokes, the humors, they had to come up with that on their own. And what I love about that as a viewer and an aficionado of someone that loves the show is you can't just be a pretty girl and do well here. You have to be smart enough, the wit, the sarcasm, timing, being able to play off of Ru because they didn't really know the questions they were going to be asked. So it was almost kind of a mini version of Snatch Game where they had kind of the skeleton to work with, but then it was up to them on whether they were really going to be able to bring it or not. Quick rundown of the roles. Aja, Ashley, and Mary Kate, again, heavy-handed. Anyway, the twins, Ashley and Mary Kate, cool, great. Deja Sky, Chardonnay Harrington, Bosco, Katie Laveau, Irene the Alien, Cherry Cheeks, Olivia, Madame Bouffant, and Phoenix, Delphine Burgundy. So let's talk a little bit about the workroom. There was an interesting argument workroom dynamic, if you will, with Olivia and
Bosco, right?
was that Bosco? Okay.
Yeah.
This argument to me was so irrelevant that I didn't understand. And like, I feel like, and feel free to disagree with me on this, Olivia was so hell-bent on breaking that good girl persona that she took any fight, any argument, and decided to run with it. And we were like, this isn't it. This is not the hill to die on, but okay, sure.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I think Bosco was doing nothing but natural, low-level shade queen in the room, like just a little soft ping pong kind of thing. She was not going for a jugular. She was not being serious. I do think it was an overreaction, and I think that in the future she will be a little mindful of that. She won't be so quick to be jump down someone's throat, because it will make her look a little too sensitive, you know.
I think we all watch enough kind of Housewives and stuff like that. Like you know when you're about to enter and you're like, I'm gonna fight. Like regardless of what anyone says, it felt like Olivia said. She woke up that morning and said, I'm gonna fight. And you were like, oh, okay, I guess.
She took a note from the Vixens playbook. Remember that season when she came in and her first words were, I'm gonna fight? That's what she took a note out of.
She was gonna fight. Bosco was not gonna fight anyone, and Aja was gonna stand in the middle looking like Velma from Scooby-Doo's aunt. And I don't know the look. I don't know any of it.
That was Velma. That was totally Velma. I'm glad you mentioned that because I had forgotten about it. I for a second I thought, was that on purpose because of the murder mystery theme?
I think you're giving her too much credit, but okay, I'll take that. You know what?
Maybe that just didn't make the edit and that was part of it. I don't know. It felt very Velma.
We're gonna hope. So let's go into the hots and the nots of our maxi challenge. Right. We're all dressed, and what I love for me is that Michelle is in there, Carson's in there, Rue's in there. Hell, that's more energy and performance that we got out of Rue on this episode than we've gotten in the past, 8 to 10 live performances at the finale. So I'll take it.
That is true. The finales have become less of a spectacle through budget reasons. I'm positive why. But yes, no, I was good to see them all together.
I mean, if we want to talk about it for like a second, the live performances from Hamaru have been giving us the with love Hillary Duff amount of energy. Like I don't know why we're even doing it anymore. Like if you don't want to perform, don't perform. Like there are girls out here that want to perform. Like that's okay. Then have a seat and say
it's a lot of arms and face now, right? Like she gets out center stage. They get her there. They put the dancers around. It's a lot of arms and a lot of face. That's what
a lot of arms and face. A lot of arms and face.
I mean, that's probably all I would do if I was in the middle of the stage with heels and a dress on too. I probably only would do arms and face.
You're not wrong. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about our performances. Aja in the main challenge looked uncomfortable. The blonde hair was herring, like it was all there. It was reading. I'm a lip sync assassin, and I don't know if there's a lot more to her. I wanted more from her. I just didn't necessarily receive it.
Yeah, I didn't really get it myself either. Aja's a great example though of how one's charisma and like just core energy of who you are can propel you into a different space when other elements of your drag might not be working. Candy Muse is another great example of that.
Yes.
You know, and sometimes you just have a star energy, a star power quality that is so evident that you can't deny you need to move into the next round. So I give Aja some credit because like, hey, I'm glad you have like kind of a messy, funky Bushwick vibe about you because if you were trying to be polished, I don't know if it would work.
Great. Yeah. Speaking of things that didn't work, where do you want to go? Phoenix, let's go with Mama Feeling. Phoenix for me is giving I'm nervous and rightfully so. She's been out of the game for a lot of years, so like I'm not going to take that away, but it is hard as a viewer. I think like you know it as well as I do. When they're nervous as like an actress or a performer, it makes us almost nervous as a viewer where you're like, I want to stop watching.
Do you remember like the old school seasons of American Idol where the like bad auditioners would come in
Yes.
and I would have like secondhand embarrassment and just like like there'd be a nervous energy and anxiety within my like heart for them, and I wasn't even in the same room with them, and I still through the like the screen I'd be like, oh no, oh no, oh no. Now I'm not saying that Phoenix doesn't have any business on stage here. I think she absolutely earns her like respect and quality and stuff, but she is not on the same playing field, and it's only because it's been so long. And I know from being on camera, that's just being on camera is a lot.
Yeah.
You've got lights, you've got sounds, you've got a team of people behind the cameras, you got people saying notes, you have people talking in other people's earpieces, there's stage, it all feels very glossy and fancy. That's a lot, even for the most highly trained, skilled professionals, so she's back and she's around, and that's part of her story, and now she'll get a little more screen time and a little more name recognition, so good for her.
You said she's here, she's in attendance. Can't say much else, but she's here. That hand is completely up. She said, I'm here to try this, and that's fair.
Marx, the teacher, has called my name, and I am present and accounted for.
She is clocked in. All right. So speaking of clocked in, we had these two queens right in the middle, Deja Skye and Olivia Lux. I think that they understood the assignment. They did well with it. I think on an average season, they would have placed right in the middle. But I think because we're only down to 6 already, they had to blow it out of the park. It had to be amazing from the beginning, and it wasn't. But did they check all the boxes along the way? I think so, yes.
They did. And for people who don't know, one of the main cornerstones of improv is this idea of yes and is what it's
yes
called.
And yep.
So, and what that means for those of you who don't know is if someone in a scene says something, you agree to that. You don't question it. You don't say something different, and then you add to it. So yes, I agree with that, and I'm adding some more information. And I do think that both of those girls did that. I just don't think they're as strong in their performances as some of the others, and so that's why they look weaker than the rest. But I do think that they did a solid job. As someone who's done improv in New York and LA for literally 1,000 years in my life, I can see good versus bad improv, and they were not bad. They were not bad, but they just were not as shiny as some of the other people.
Yeah, I think for both Deja Skye and Olivia Lux, that if they had a fully fleshed out script, they could deliver the jokes and deliver the humor. But improv is harder for a reason. You don't have a script at all. And so you have to be able to we've seen it in Snatch Game over and over again, where you have to get the one line. You have to be super intellectual in addition to also being present and being there in the situation to deliver the wit, the sarcasm, and stay who you are, who you're supposed to be. So like, it's a very multifaceted skill that only a few queens, I think, have it down to a high. And speaking of our last two, which so good. Let's talk Irene the Alien. I think that she truly understood the assignment and decided to bring it to somewhere new. I think what's great is that she is putting that PFA to good use. She said, I have trained in improv and musical theater. I'm here. I am ready. I love to see it.
Well, she came with a very clear point of view, right? And when you're doing improv, it's always best to have a point of view. I came from a training background at Upright Citizens Brigade, where they kind of teach you your life experience is your point of view. So so whatever is unique about your take on the world, come into that scene and that scene work and doing that. She came in with a fully fleshed out idea of a character. I mean, just the voice changes and the drop of the voice and stuff that would be cartoonish in maybe other circumstances really worked for this project. And she knew that going in. I like Irene because it's a huge different storyline than what she had on her first time around, which was, oh, you kind of biffed the first episode and you went out the door. And well, she changed her name. She's got her branding down. She's come back to with a fire under her ass, you know? So I'm excited to see how well she does on this. If she keeps killing it, she could very well get to the next round. And I'm very curious about that journey for a queen that started on a season as a one-off.
I think that this is one of the strongest redemptions we've seen in the history of the show, even only in 2 episodes, because like for her to go from going home immediately to being top 2 twice immediately, that's a jump. That's a really big jump. And speaking of Bosco, who initially went home on an acting challenge, is here and back, and every joke hit. And it's hard to make like people like us not only understand the joke, but laugh out loud. But like I laughed out loud numerous times in this one.
She was great. I mean, the double blind thing was fun.
Yep.
You know, that's anytime you can have like a prop or a piece of costume, that sometimes that really nails down a character too. And if you gave me a diamond eye patch, there's so much character in that, right? And so I think she really brought that to fruition in a very creative way. And she is one of my early favorites in this. I always liked her energy in the first time around. And now that she has this like glow up and all her stuff is like aligned and all her drag is like definitely elevated, I'm very excited to see her through line on this.
Yeah, totally. So we finish up our Maxi challenge and we move it to the runway. This week's runway theme, coming and going, which I always wonder about this. I'm like, are they still going to be able to like think up imaginative, innovative ways to make the runway work? And I love this one. The idea that it is one outfit pacing them and one outfit away from them. So because we only have 6 of them, which by the way, an aside, I love the fact that we only have to relearn 6 of them at a time, because sometimes you're like, 12 is too many, 13 is too many, and you're still trying to figure out how they've evolved and changed and upgraded or whatever else. I feel like this is a nice number where they each get good confessionals, good screen time, so on and so forth.
And I can almost guarantee you that's on purpose. I mean, production knows that we are now in a society of like, our attention spans are different. We've all had COVID a million times. We're only on TikTok for 30 seconds at a time. Like, who not a lot of people are going to the movies anymore just to sit through a 2-hour plus movie. That's like a commitment for most people anymore. We're tired, we're exhausted. So let's give us little chunks at a time and make it real digestible. And I think that's actually a really smart move on this season.
As America, you're right. We're tired. Okay. Deja Sky, let's talk about it from the front and the back. Okay, this is hard. I appreciated this outfit, but I didn't love it. You know those outfits where you're like, I respect what's happening here, but like, I don't love it. I don't love the shape, the hair, the anything.
I like the work that went into it. I tend to agree with you on this now that I'm looking at it. I like a different silhouette. This is a different silhouette. I like something that is colorful. This is colorful. So why am I not in love with it? I'm
Agreed.
not really sure. I just feel, and I know I already, Eureka in the first episode already nailed me to the wall for this. I do like Deja Sky. I don't like her drag. I just always am underwhelmed. Even when it's presented well like this, I just kind of feel like I don't care.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, and I think I've finally worked out how to like verbalize it. I love Deja Sky as a person far more than I love her as a drag person.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, that I'm like, no, I'd hang out with you. Like, I feel like we would be very close friends. But if you're like, but I'll see you at my drag show this weekend, I'd be like, maybe. Like, for me, like, oh, yeah, no.
I might have something else going on. You're right.
All right. Phoenix. This was actually a really good moment for Phoenix in talking about her sister who passed away in the COVID pandemic. I think it gave us enough vulnerability that we really got to see her. And I, as the eternal optimist, love the idea that like the sun will come out tomorrow. And I feel like in getting to see both like the storm and the sun, I thought it was symbolic and meaningful, but it gave us high fashion and drag as well.
You know what's funny is I'm just getting all of that right now looking at the photo.
Really? Okay, sweet.
I don't know why. I got the windswept hair, I got the storm, I got the this. I did not, for some reason, maybe I just didn't look at the screen for those 6 seconds. I didn't understand that it was the sun coming up beyond the clouds after the storm. Totally get it. And hey, the audience always loves when you're vulnerable or have people sometimes often in reality TV or audience members who don't love the art form of it, they will be very quick to be like, well, I don't have a sob story, so I wouldn't be interested to be on, no one would cast me because I don't have a sob story. And it's like, it's not about having a sob story. It's about having a story, and can you tell it? And I think that was a very grounding moment for her in this episode, for sure.
I think whether it comes to Drag Race or even reality TV in general, I don't know if you're watching like this season of like Survivor or whatever else, but everyone has been complaining about like the sob stories and this and that. And I was like, listen, if you haven't endured hardship, I love that for you, but that's probably not a story I want to hear. No one wants to hear about the idea of like, I've never done anything difficult or hard or faced adversity in my whole life.
Hey, you know
Nobody
what?
wants that. Sorry.
Give it another year or two, and everyone in America is going to have a sob story. So,
right? We lived through 2020. This is the sob story. We're here for.
We're living our sob story literally right now.
All right. All right. So we move our way into Olivia Lux. The idea of like a black jazz singer using the cord of the microphone kind of wrapped around in this kind of Schiaparelli-like look. From the front, we get an amazing, beautiful, long silhouette black dress. From the back, we get flowers. I actually love this more on television than I love it right now, only because when you put it back to back with Phoenix, I love the idea as like a former English guy. I'm like, what's the symbolism here? This dress doesn't have any for me. That like, for me, it makes no sense to say on the front is a beautiful black jazz singer, and then on the back, flowers. And you're like, but why? Like, it just doesn't, like, it's not a cohesive look for me. And so, like, I do appreciate the aesthetic. I just wish that it had a little bit more thought and storytelling behind it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also think that because it's a still, the movement on screen made it sold it a little bit more too. But I do see your point about hey, that is coming and that is going, but really what is the connection truthfully? But I'm such a fan of her that I'm always rooting for Olivia Lux based solely off of the first season she was in.
Agree completely.
I truly thought for the first half of that season that she was going to be the winner that year.
Yes.
And so I'm the viewer in me is rooting for her all over again.
Always. And okay, so again, this is another one that like it's not gonna help Olivia to put her in between these two. I think when your look is so well thought out, Irene the Alien said, what if I were like a politician, but like what if I also gave it social commentary, political commentary? What if I ripped my wig open and really it was an alien controlling me the whole time? That to me is well thought out, creative. That is what drag needs to be in 2025. Like, I want to look at drag now and say, no one would have thought to do that 10 years ago, that you are ahead of the curve. And I truly believe that Irene the Alien is.
I agree. I love this look. And I do agree with you about drag really kind of, taking the backdrop of society of whatever's going on and like kind of reflecting that. And we live in a different society now than we did 10 years ago. So drag should and will be different. I also like Irene because Irene Dubois in my mind initially was, who was that? But now Irene the Alien is an entirely different force. So I'm very curious and excited to see. To me, this is like basically a brand new drag queen who is showing up on All Stars. So I think that's kind of a unique story that I haven't seen before in terms of casting. And so far, she's really impressed me from episode 1 and 2. So I'm a quick fan to this new Irene the Alien. I didn't care about Irene Dubois. I'll tell you that right now.
All right, we got our girl Aja. From the from the front, Aja's giving Sailor Moon in the sun. I don't know what's happening. The bows, it's a lot. But I will say that I do think that it is proportioned correctly for her height and stuff. And I think that it is definitely something that she has struggled with in episode 1 that I think she kind of resolved in episode 2. It's all the right height and width, so on and so forth. I love when you turn around, it's giving kind of that Dia de los Muertos view of the vibe, so on and so forth. So I do love the idea of like so light, so dark. It's a definite switch immediately.
Yeah, here when I was watching it, I guess I like her a lot. I just don't always get it. I was like, ooh, Aztec Sun, and then what, Stevie Nicks? I wasn't sure, like, oh, Sunflower Marigolds and Fleetwood Mac. Like I didn't get it, but it's nice. It looks nice. My eye is interested, but I'm just not focused.
Agree. And is this our last but not least? Yeah, I think so. Yep. We hit all these. Cool. So last but not least, we got Bosco, the look of the night for me. When I die, and I will die eventually, when I die, make my way small enough to go into this because wow, like what it just, I think that there's so much power that comes from a queen that knows her skills and talents and what she brings. And she said, I'm bringing you a little ass waist. I know what I can serve you each and every time. Body, proportions, a theme. She knows what she is and who she is. And I think that again, I said it in the breakdown for episode number 1. It's almost like she unlocked a different level in a video game where like she's always brought this kind of Elvira-like aesthetic, but the idea of doing it so far and doing it so well, I love this.
I mean, I have this outfit. I wear this all the time. My big ass would never fit in this. I'm so impressed. I love the color, love the blood red. And I think she knew exactly what she was doing with a little tip of the hat to Elvira. She's an icon in the world of drag. RuPaul has been mentioned several times how much she likes her. And I think this was very smart and very good and very well executed. Again, always a fan of Bosco. Very excited to see her future work.
Always amazing. So, as predicted, our 2 top queens for the episode, Bosco and Irene the Alien, that are pacing off in a lip sync for your legacy to Murder on the Dance Floor, which, like, in judging by the name of the episode, we assume. Right. Please. So, did you agree? Eventually, they are both giving so much. I swore early on that Irene had it, but Bosco is serving us body, waist, hair, nails, heels, hips, all of it. Like she's just, and I think that, what is your view on how to win a lip sync? Do you want to come out guns a-blazing initially, or do you want it to be like a slow burn and then hinge it at the end?
I think you have to, you cannot start guns a-blazing. Again, this is back to the improv world. If you go on stage and you start at a level 10, where do you go the rest of the scene? You're already at a level 10, right? So that level 10 is going to have to be very exciting, very engaging the entire time. Can you do that? Some people can. But if you start a little lower, if you start at like a 6, and you build to a 7 and you crescendo up to a 9 and then you take them and shake them with a 10, then that's, you've taken the audience on a journey. You've taken them along a ride for you. I think Irene was great, but I did think she tried a little too hard. I think she's there to try hard, right? This is her time to come back on Drag Race and rebrand herself and get her name out there and get those bookings moving forward. So she is gonna come out guns a-blazing every time. She could have dialed it back a little bit. I think it would have been better. But Bosco, let me tell you, those like wavy arm things, I still don't know what they were called because Eureka, her camera blanked out when I asked. I have got to find those because I want to just walk around like the grocery store with those. I want to go to Trader Joe's and do this little thing, this wavy arm movement, and then swirl around on the floor and then reemerge a cocoon, a trans goddess cocoon with my tits out everywhere. That was amazing, stunning work. That could have won a finale on a regular season of.
Oh, very much so. I mean, you guys Heard it here first. Jeff Marx, don't blow your load early. He said it. He said it. You heard it here first. That is official. We are throwing it on. It happened. He said, I need long and slow. Don't just go right in there for me. All right, cool, great.
Always work up to it.
Right, we love that.
So, bring the stamina.
Episode 2, Murder on the Dance Floor, crowns Bosco. So our winners so far going into the last episode of this bracket, Aja, Irene, Bosco have all won Maxi challenges. They brought us everything. So mathematically speaking, the other girls have some work to do, but you know, Hamaru, there's going to be some kind of twist or turn or whatever else in this last episode. If you had to pick one that was making it out of the bracket, no matter what, Jeff, who would it be?
Bosco.
Nice. Okay, cool. My number 1 is Irene, and I think that as a society, we've slept on Irene for a while, and I'm really excited to see what she does. Semifinals, finals, so on and so forth. But I think that she is skilled and talented, and she knows that she is, and that is all we want to see.
That'll be exciting. I'm here for it. If that happens, that's great. I think that's a fun redemption story. It's a fun new arc. I'm into it.
Yeah. And so with that said, we've made it through all of the looks, all the trials and tribulations of episode 2 of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 10 All Stars. We are here. We are doing it each and every week along with you, Jeff. It has been a pleasure as always. Where can everyone locate you on social media?
Yeah, so I'm an Instagram guy. You can find me on Instagram, Jeff Marx the Spot. That's Jeff Marx, my last name with an X, M-A-R-X. Jeff Marx the Spot. Sweet.
And you can also find me on Instagram, TikTok, PSolomon12. If you're a fellow millennial like me, AOL Instant Messenger, hit me up. Regardless of what it is, I am here for you, and we're going to be here for the rest of the episodes. In the meantime, have a good day. Continue to appreciate who you were, celebrate who you are, and motivate who you are going to be. Have a great day.